Hey folks, on this episode of Connect, we know that prayer is really important to the Christian, but is fasting supposed to be part of the prayer life? That right now on Connect. Hey everybody, this is Pastor Patrick answering a question that was sent to us on the Connect email. Is fasting necessary for Christians today? And what does that look like? How are we to do it? It's a great question. Fasting is something that we read about a lot in the Old Testament, but we also read about it in the New Testament. Jesus talked about it in the four Gospels, and also we understand that the book of Acts carries on a lot about it. Now, why would somebody want to fast? What would be the purpose and intentionality of starving yourself? I'm kind of a chubby guy, so I kind of like to eat, so I don't like the idea of fasting. However, the purpose of fasting is much different than what you might think. What it does is it actually humbles yourself. You never know when you get to that point where you're hangry and you might want a candy bar like the commercial does. Well, that's kind of what the purpose of fasting does. It gets you to the point where you're all of a sudden really uncomfortable. And what we want to do in the moments of being uncomfortable is pray. You don't let anybody know that you're fasting. You actually want to pray and ask God to help you become closer. Let's look at the Word of God and see what it has to say about it. King David once said, "I humbled my soul with fasting," in Psalm 69:10. But the truth is, fasting and prayer can restore or strengthen your intimacy with God. And that's something that's really important to do sometimes. If you're a believer and you've been a believer for a long time and you just feel stagnant in your faith, you want to talk about a jolt to your system, and that is to pray about the opportunity to fast. Now, a lot of times people want to know, well, how long do I fast, Pastor? How long do I do it? I usually say that if you've never done it before, do a 24-hour fast. And what you do is you start in the morning, and after you have breakfast, you drink water the rest of the day, and you don't eat anything. You just drink water. And make sure that you check with your doctor, make sure that you don't have any health issues that will cause this problem. But by the next morning, when you wake up, before you eat, you would spend time in fervent prayer and just ask God to reveal anything to you, and then reward yourself with a meal. At this point, God is really going to be your focus, because if you're doing it with a humble heart, real humility, then He'll actually lay upon your heart something that maybe some sin that you've tucked away that you really need to deal with, or whatever the case is. Fasting is definitely a part of the Christian faith walk. It's not something that we talk about a lot, but hopefully this question is answered right now with the Word of God as we turn to two other passages. The book of Acts 14:23 tells us, "And when they had appointed elders for them in every church with prayer and fasting, they committed them to the Lord in whom they had believed." They wanted to make sure that this moment was set and started correctly by praying and fasting for these men to do the best job they could in their local churches. And also in the book of Mark 29, "And He said to them, this kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer." And when Jesus was talking about this, He was focusing on prayer, that this particular demon could not come out of this man until he was in prayer to do so. Sometimes we realize that fasting and prayer go hand in hand, but prayer life has got to be part of your daily walk with Jesus Christ. We always say this in the church that I am a pastor at. Tell them reading the Word, prayer, communing with Jesus Christ every week with communion, and also fellowship of the saints are the four groundwork pieces of our faith walk to be strong as possible today in the world that we live in. Hopefully this helps you. If you want any more information on fasting and prayer, please email us, connect@highlandheightscc.com. And you can also go to LigonnierMinistries.org, and you can look up and put in their search bar fasting. They have a lot of resources on answering questions about it. Hope this helps you. Until next time, take care.